So overall, I have to say, before we ask the question, Specialist Mage, I have to say, being a long-time Advanced Dungeons & Dragons player, tabletop player, even to this day, Baldur's Gate holds up so well, and it captures the feeling of not only the AD&D realm, but the AD&D rule set and the AD&D feel of the game, even with some character kits and classes that were not in the original game, retrofitting them back to that, it works, and it's a lot of fun. And the longevity of the game is, even after you've explored the story and played it through a few times, now you can explore different strategies, different narratives with the different characters. That said, it is not a pen and paper game, even if it has that feel. There's massive amounts of decision trees and logic and stuff, but there isn't a dungeon master there deciding, okay, you can do this, you can't do that, you want to go off script, how do you want to tackle the Iron Throne, you want to go this way or that way. So as a result, there are certain stress points in the game where they've attempted to accommodate something, but it just doesn't quite work on there. And I believe and I feel that the specialist mages, they're just not implemented that well. And not even from the narrative perspective. Like, one could say, look, the shapeshifter, a favorite class of mine, absolutely it wasn't finished. Even in the EE version, a couple of things were tightened up, but it had so much more potential. Or you could say Wizard Slayer, okay, the idea was good, but actually implementing it in the game, it just wasn't done very well. I feel the same thing, and both those classes are fun to play. But here's the challenge. A mage, a sorcerer, arcane, dedicated spellcaster is one of the most powerful classes and powerful characters in the game. The ability to memorize spells, the ability to use, no spoilers, some very, very powerful magic items, the ability to dish out sustained damage, just something as simple as chaining magic missiles, the ability to have some potential save versus die spells, even if whatever you're fighting, the chances of that actually failing the saving throw are small. You could push those out. You could push out buffs on the party. You can push out debuffs on the monsters. You can push out summons. And your summons stack as they go. And summons are very powerful. Extremely powerful class to play. So as soon as you start to intentionally limit the class, the offsets better be good, right? The idea of a sorcerer is, okay, you can't pick as many spells, you're locked in, but you can cast more a day. You're limiting yourself, but there's an offset. The other offset is that, hey, in theory, you could utilize scrolls and other things on there. Having a mage, yes, you get a bump towards your specialized school, but after mid-game, what does that bump really matter on there? But to limit, depending on the mage specialization that you have, to limit opposing schools and take those spells out, that's really big from my perspective on there. And for the lulls, for the narrative, I've played a necromancer, Harmonious Bach, my necromancer. I play him also in tabletop on there. So, sometimes you want to have the corresponding colored robes to your specialization, and you spent your time in Candlekeep studying certain tomes that are there. You can do that, right? Just like you could play a shapeshifter and you could play a shadow dancer. But the inherent raw, awesome power of a mage, do you really want to limit that? Especially when the mage is so competitive to play on there. That's the question I'm going to put out. Are there any dedicated Baldur's Gate mage players who specialize on there in one of the arcane schools? What do you feel it gains you versus the offset? And for that loss that you lose, out of curiosity, what is your workaround?